disease detection, and also we need lightweight diagnostic algorithm, and also we need image compensation and matching technology. Those are what we are doing now, and also we developing gamma camera. So this is the 12 professors, 2 medical doctors, computer scientists, and electrical engineering, and those interdisciplinary convergence of technology actually. And also we have 7 companies. One is called Infinity. Oh, sorry, I'm very sorry. Infinity Healthcare. That's the #1 sales market in worldwide for the PACS industry. And also we have Intermedic, #3 capsule endoscope company in worldwide sales. We have 7 companies working with us. And this is communication guide. I don't want to go through details because you guys' background I don't know exactly. So we model using the communication theory, and we should model human body how it looks like. So a guy from another university, he is doing communication system design, and he is making link convergence simulator and for the capsule endoscope. So he come up with the best modern technology and also for data correction. And this is the block diagram of the communication system. So we have image data and encoding, scrambling, code word merging, code insertion, modulation. And now we are doing MSK, but we will use FSK. FSK is better. And those are just typical block diagram of communications. I don't want to go through the details because we're designing analog. Three guys are designing analog circuit. I am the digital guy, so I'm the basement modern digital IC. I cannot point out this. Because this is LED, so it's so bright, so I cannot point, actually. So we actually designed those things, then we taped out on the 4th of September. So we'll get those chips within like 4 months or something. Next, please. Next slide. Okay. And this is improved version, second revision of the modem, because we used MSK, but FSK is better, and so we use FSK. So if we use FSK, then we can remove AD converter receiver channel, and also we can remove DAC mixer related circuits. So compared to the previous one, this is quite simple. As you can see here, this is very complicated, left one, but this one is quite simple. So we can reduce power further, so power consumption is very important. Another guy is localization, because the location of the capsule to detect where is the capsule, where is the end capsule. That's very important because surgeons, they want to know where is the capsule, where the capsule detects a lesion, where the capsule detects a bleeding spot. That's very important. Actually, so this guy is using vision-based localization, also motion estimation and compensation. He is using those things. And this is the actually deep learning based approach. And he has unsupervised deep learning approach for motion vector estimation. So this is frame 1 and frame next frame, and then they compare, and then what's the difference between two, and then they can learn. The network can learn. So that's the deep learning. Everybody concerned about deep learning. Everybody is using deep learning. Everybody is the studying and investigate, and everybody is now it's a deep learning society. IBM Watson computer. IBM Watson computer is very good at detect cancer because maybe 10 university hospitals in Korea, they had a contract with the IBM Watson computer. So IBM Watson computer is much, much better than the surgeons or medical doctors because they're using big data and also they're using sophisticated algorithms. So our goal is how to implement those Watson-like computer on our smartphone. That's our final goal of this.
Professor, 2 minutes left.
2 minutes left? Okay. Okay. I want to delete. This is on top of this. And this is deep learning, but I don't want to talk about this. And this, I don't want to talk about. This is gamma camera, and gamma camera can be used for surgeons. Like a USB gamma camera, very small one, handheld. He do operation, and he can use gamma camera to detect very small portion of cancer cells. So they are developing this one. And actually, this is remote diagnosis, telediagnosis, and actually this is illegal in Korea now. I'm not sure in European countries, but patients can send their data to medical doctors. Medical doctors can diagnose. You need what kind of medicine or something like that. This is illegal. So what we are going to do is we need a jaundice eye detection algorithm on our smartphone so that smartphone can detect what kind of jaundice level, what kind of you are in critical condition or it's okay or moderate. So actually we make a patch like here. Let me show you demo. So we can using the smartphone. Let me show you demo. And actually, this is upper part is normal patient, normal guys. Bottom parts are patients actually, jaundice patients. You can see the normal sclera and also jaundice sclera, and actually you can see the difference between two. Then they can detect the patient's jaundice level. Let me show you the demo.
Time is up, I think.
Yes, it. Can you press this one?
Press.
Here. Press. Okay. And then this is my final. So using the smartphone, you can take photos. Then this smartphone can focusing, light balancing, no matter what kind of light condition is. Actually, then we can detect jaundice level.
I'm sorry, Professor.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I think we will have more opportunity to have question and answers. To have the better flow of the presentation, I think the next three presenters going to talk about ICT and computers in relation with health. So I would like to welcome Dr. Olivier Rukundo to present his papers. Hey, please. presentation. Time is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. I'll be very fast. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Olivier Undo, and working on enhancement of capsule endoscopy images. So, one of the problems we are working on in my group is enhancement of distant vessels and the structure, capsule endoscopy images. So, those kind of features were recommended by the gastroenterologists because they want to get more information about them so that they can be able to make a decision when they have sufficient clarity on the situation, on the pictures that they have. So it's very important for them. It's also important in a sense that it can maybe help them to prevent later cancer if they can monitor and diagnose them in time. In Norway, normally we have almost every year we have almost 3,000 cases of gastrointestinal cancers. So it's a high rate for a country of 5 million people. So it's really a concern. So one of the methods that has been adopted is the use of capsule endoscopy to monitor such cases and try to propose solution. Some of the traditional endoscopic methods that we have, they still also have advantages. For example, they provide the images with better quality compared to capsule endoscopy, but they have a big disadvantage of inflicting pain and of giving discomfort to patients. And from these images you can see how the procedure is done, and this image shows that the situation is not as good as it can be in the case of capsule endoscopy, because if you need to have something going down your throat to the stomach, you can imagine the discomfort you get. Or if something that has to go through the rectum and goes up there, you can have the idea of the discomfort you get. In some cases, they need to use some of sedative agents so that you don't feel the pain or the discomfort that you're supposed to have. And the most recent solution to the discomfort, but also that allows the visualization of the entire the capsule endoscopy. The idea was brought by this man in 1991, and then he couldn't move on with the idea because of the technology. At that time, they didn't have the technology that would allow them to pack small electronic components into a small container of the size of pills. So the idea was posed at that time. But about 10 years later, they started manufacturing such capsules, and then they were tested in 1999 for the first time on humans, and then later they started publishing on them, and it was FDA approved about 20 years later. And we have two main companies that have these capsule endoscopy products. One of them is Given Imaging, another one is Olympus, and each has its brand name on each product that it has, and in each capsule we have the element I mentioned here, and all of them are packed, and when you want to use capsule endoscopy, you will need to ingest all these elements or in one capsule at the same time, and then Of course, like traditional method, to use capsule endoscopy, it requires some preparation. For example, you spend some 12 hours fasting and then have some solution so that you can remove some air bubbles that may interfere with the observance, and then as soon as you're ready for the use, then they remove it from its box with the magnet so that it can prevent its activation when it's not yet ready for use, and then you ingest it. So it goes down taking pictures, and then we collect the pictures from the data recorder that you wear on your waist about 8 hours later. And then those images are downloaded and processed with rapid software, and then the gastroenterologist can start looking at them and making the decision. But we still have a problem with capsule endoscopy because the quality of the image we receive, the quality of image produced by capsule endoscopy is very poor. So it's important to have such image enhanced. On these images, you can see the images from the fiber optic scopes. They have, for example, you can see the colors are shining and sharp, and really look nice compared to the images we have on the other side. See, they have some kind of blurriness and some increased darkness. So the enhancement is really needed in this case. And we have two options for enhancement. Next slide. We have two options. The first one is to try to enhance the color so that the dark areas, all those areas referred to as the area which contain the vessels and distant vessels and structures, can try to enhance, make them a little brighter so that one can have a better visibility. Another way is to enlarge, because when you enlarge an image, you have the impression that you get a closer view, and with a closer view, you can have a better visibility. So these are two ways that we try to achieve the better visibility that gastroenterologists need in our research group. But we have been working on color enhancement, and then I will also talk about some of the works that we have achieved. We have done so far. For example, is an example of showing the reference image that we see from the capsule endoscope, and the image enhanced using the method proposed in this paper. But in this case, the distance vessels are clear, and we can see the details in those areas. But the problem is, like, we have sacrificed the bright areas. We have over-enhanced the areas with the specular highlights, and we try to enlarge them, and we have lost more information, which is not good, because even if we want to have more clarity in those distance vessels, but we still want to keep the bright area at least the way they are in the reference image. So for that reason, we changed and we proposed another method, which...
2 minutes.
2 minutes? Okay, I will be fast. So we changed and we improved the result compared to the previous one, and we still changed it because the gastroenterologist kept complaining, and we proposed another method which provided much better results compared to all the three methods that we have, and we could get more clarity, more visibility in those distant vessels and structures. And we also used some of the image quality assessment metrics, and the reference-based metrics, they gave better results for all the cases of images we used for experiment. But with non-reference metrics, we started noticing the weakness of our method, because, for example, you could get better performance with larger images compared to the performance we obtained with small-sized images. So that was the drawback of our method, and we hope to keep working on these issues in the future. And here, for example, we have some links on which you can find one who would like to join and collaborate with us You can find the work we do and the profile of our staff in our department. And then if one finds something that really fits or that matches with his expertise, we can work together and try to do some project. So we have the main funding in Sweden, it's it's the main funding source in Norway, and we have many calls, some with deadlines and other with open-ended calls. So one can apply anytime. And in this way we can share ideas and work together in the future, and for example try to develop a cognitive method that could, for example, adjust to the situation of every image, either the size or the texture or the edges or the color, anything. And then in that case, if we collaborate and work together, we can really achieve the quality that we want that capsule endoscopy images to produce. And this one can really help and can also give us opportunity to positively contribute to the work done by the dermatologists. And in this way, the best situation can be expected when we can see the annual report that shows that, for example, this particular year we had the GI cancer rate per year that is equal to 0, and that would be the best situation that we would expect in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rutindo. Thank you very much. I think it's coincident you have a similar or very related topics. And now we continue with the third presenter. Please, Dr. Fanani. Dr. Fanani from Faculty of Computer Science at Universitas Indonesia. Please have your applause.
Hello everybody, very good afternoon. My name is Muhammad Ifan Fanani. I'm from the Faculty of Computer Science, Universitas Indonesia. My field is actually machine learning and computer vision. But as you know, machine learning is very huge topic. So I also study many fields from the also joint collaboration with Olivier on capsule endoscopy, and also doing some remote sensing and many other fields. Let's learn from the two previous speakers. I will not go into the details, but to make sure that you will have a general idea what this research is about. Oops. Oh. Okay, in current talk, I will present my work on comprehensive analysis of hyperspectral remote sensing for predicting the need for rice for Indonesian. What I mean here by comprehensive is actually incorporating not only the remote sensing technology, but also climate change and also social dynamic. Okay, so in Indonesia, every year we have to come up with a prediction, a very accurate prediction about the rice. As you know, rice is a main staple food for Indonesian people. So if you ask Indonesian in the morning whether they have breakfast after they ate something other than rice, it's most probably they will not. They will just reply, I have not yet have breakfast. So before eating rice, they will say they have not yet breakfast. In Indonesia, the prediction of rice need is very complicated because the fast prediction will fast prediction. Okay, this is my top comprehensive hyperfederal analysis for Indonesian rice agriculture needs. And I don't have this. Okay, so in Indonesia, to wrong import decision has cost our country about 1.4 trillion rupiahs every year. So we need to make accurate prediction on the rice needs. Next slide, please. Can we have? So, there are two main bodies in Indonesia. There are Central Bureau of Statistics and also Ministry of Agriculture that regularly update their information about the rice need for Indonesia. They employ thousands of people that we call Mantri Statistik and Mantri Tani in various parts of Indonesia to give some data to make statistical estimation. And the problem is because we have direct observation that involve vast area and then also very short time, and then usually the estimate will be overestimate, and then we will have make wrong or false import decision. And this is a very big problem because it costs us about 1.4 trillion rupiahs every year. To address this problem, we in cooperation with the Japan Space System and Agency of Assessment and Application Technology Indonesia, and then with also Ministry of Agriculture, we developed remote sensing technology to make a prediction. Next. Okay, this is the problem that I already said, and we have to ensure that we have a national food security program that's the economic and political stability of our country. Okay, next please. So the idea is, next, we have a super site here. We have a super site. And then we make a model that relate between what we observe in the super site. Why we call this a super site? Because we know for sure about the growth stages and also the yield production, rice production in the field. And then we make model with the airborne remote sensing. After we make a good model, we will scale this up for the prediction of rice need in national scale. Next, please. So we do using the hyperspectral for the airborne, but hyperspectral for the satellite is not yet. But we combine what we have in the satellite remote sensing. We have the multispectral, so we combine. Next slide, please. Next. Just skip. So overall accuracy of our results measured with the ground truth on the ground is about 84.96%. Next, please. But this is using the hyperspectral, but we don't have the multispectral satellites. Okay, and then in the next slide, we combine the hyperspectral and multispectral to make a decision for wider area for Java island level. Okay, next, please. Next. This is the combination, and we developed a method for fusing these two remote sensing sensors. Next, please. But the problem is the MODIS is very low spectral resolution, even though the spatial resolution is quite good. But on other hand, hyperspectral resolution is very high in spectral, but very low in spatial. So we can combine these two sensors. Next, please. And then, okay, next. Next, please. Okay, next, please. This is the only difference. Next. So we can predict not only the rise yield amount, but also the when we will have such amount. So this is very crucial. Okay. Maybe only 2 minutes left. I just want to go to the most important part of my talk. Is I open for the collaboration. What I need is right now. The first is we need a collaboration on gathering many more satellite data. So if you have any collaborator or connection on the one who can provide us with good accuracy satellite data, not only spectral and spatial, but also the time. For example, currently USA and Europe try to make a sentinel satellite that we can observe the Earth in real time. So if I can get access, if we can get access to such data, it would be very helpful. And please contact me. That is the one thing. And the second thing, I also like Professor Wu, also doing deep learning. And this system of deep learning is learned from big data. It consists of billions parameters that need to be trained by very big data. So we will incorporate big data analysis with this remote sensing. So if you have interested in big data remote sensing, please contact me for joint collaboration. And then the third is maybe if you have access to the supercomputer to do big data remote sensing, I also welcome for the collaboration. I think that's all. I hope I don't miss the time. Okay, thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fanani, with the class. Very interesting to have talk about ICT application in agriculture. I don't want this session to become a presentation race, so let's give the time, and please welcome Professor Ogura from Tokyo Institute of Technology. And I think everyone can check the program book or biography of Professor Ogura. Please, time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much to your person. And it's a great honor to having a presentation here. Thank you. And this is my talk about application of application of mineralotic acid for detection of tumor. So I'd like to talk about medical collaboration with scientists. Actually, I'm in Tokyo Institute of Technology, and my major is applied chemistry. But we hope now expand to the collaboration with medical field, especially clinical field. So I'd like to talk about the research topics collaboration with medical field. So this. No. I think this area detailed here is the point. Sorry, and that is like a scheme of array aminorevenue acid, and left one is normal cells, and right one is tumor cells. And in the case of normal cells, this compound can accumulate in normal cells and also tumor cells, and metabolite into the porphyrin around here. This is a compound, and accumulating porphyrin, and it converted into heme in the case of normal cells. However, in the case of tumor cells, porphyrin itself is accumulated. And porphyrin has a very unique character. This is the picture of porphyrin, and this is normal picture, and this is the fluorescent mode. Yeah, porphyrin is a fluorescent compound, so this porphyrin can detectable by our eyes. And in the case of the tumor, this porphyrin is accumulated, and we can detect the porphyrin fluorescence. So in another meeting, we can detect the tumor area using these techniques. So diagnosis is carried out in these systems. So today I'd like to show about the detail of the diagnosis system. Yeah, this is the hot diagnosis of brain tumor, and brain tumor area is very important to detect where is a tumor area and where is a normal area. So surgical limit is quite important. And left slide is the picture of the brain tumor, and this picture is the red-colored tumor after area administrations. And this is a real human being brain tumor, and doctor can operate using the area's fluorescence. Okay. Okay. Sorry. This is the movie of the brain tumor surgery, and actually here, right part is the brain tumor lesion. But as you know, the strict region is very big, so it is very difficult to detect where is the tumor. So please move to this movie. Would you back to the PPT file? Yeah. So, and that is the movie. So, yeah, that's it. That red color is the tumor area. So we can see where is the tumor. So this is the surgery. Sound is not necessary. Thank you. Sound is necessary, not necessary. Thank you. And later we can see the red colored, that is the red colored tumor. So this white light can watch the whole tumor. And this is the hot tumor, and we can check where is the tumor or not. Okay, movie is over. So, time is so limited, I know. So I must go very quickly. And I'm sorry for this is written in Japanese, but it says our collaboration America established this medicine as a drug. And in Japan, this medicine is approved in 2013. And in Europe or United States is not yet, but Europe is also approved. So we try to expand these techniques in, of course, in Indonesia or some countries. Okay, this is a structure, picture of this medicine. And today's topics, this technique is applied in medical field. However, I think this is very huge problem. Mechanism of tumor-specific porphyrin accumulation is not known. So we mean researcher must focus on the mechanism, very scientific perspective. And mechanism of tumor-specific porphyrin accumulation after administration of ARA is carried out. And also tumor screening after administration of ARA. I'd like to go to another topics. Okay, first I'd like to show the mechanism perspective. And this is the structure of ARA, and this is the structure of protoporphyrin. And ARA is uptaken by the transporter located here. Okay, and ARA is converted to the enzyme, and another compound metabolite is generated, and finally protoporphyrin is generated. So we check the enzymes, all enzymes and all transporters, and in the tumor there has a possibility to be strange rather than normal area. So we check the 5 tumor tissues, and in this left tumor is cannot accumulate enough protoporphyrin, and this MKN45 can accumulate enough protoporphyrin. So we check the status of these molecules, and we found this transporter PEPT1 is a very important transporter, and also ABCD2 is also a very important transporter. So, for example, MKN45 tumor cells area uptake is upregulated, and porphyrin export is downregulated. So we conclude this phenomenon. So we think this is why tumor cells can accumulate ARA and convert into the porphyrins. Okay, I must go quick. So I'd like to show about second topic, tumor screening after administration of ARA. In the clinical tumor therapeutic way, early detection of patient is fundamentally important. So we try to apply these techniques into the early detection of tumor. Okay, in these techniques, we thought this accumulated porphyrin has a possibility to go into the body fluid. So this is a body fluid, and this is body fluid, and we check the concentration of blood or urine concentration after administration of ARA. So this is final slide. We check the mouse plasma and mouse urines concentrations, and that one is tumor-bearing mice, and plasma concentration and urine concentration is elevated. So we think these techniques can apply for tumor marker and tumor early detection. Thank you very much for kind attention.
Thank you very much, Professor. It's very nice presentation on marking on tumor cells. And now we have the fifth presenter, Professor Yatna Supriyatna from Universitas Indonesia. Please, Prof. Yatna, stage is yours.
Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for attending this seminar. And you have a slide, please. Slide. Okay. So my presentation, it's a little bit different. I'm going to a little bit changes because the audience, it seemed to me that is more varieties background, so I like to be lighter than cancer. So this is about this prospecting, how does Indonesia needs for the future. Basically, this is the ideas. I'd like to give you lesson learned about the Indonesia. Indonesia, it's a very big countries, the fourth populous countries in the world. It's about 250 million people, maybe right now about 260 million people. And with the 17 islands and ethnic, about 1,000 ethnic groups, and about the language, about 746. So that's really big, considering to many others, and also beautiful. But I'm not going to talk about beautiful. Today is going to talk about what is really Indonesia. It's a blessing. Right now, if you go to Bali, there is a Mount Agung is going to be blow up. And then now it's even, we have 129 volcanoes in Indonesia is ready to blow up anytime. But this is blessing for us because this is, if you see that all under there's a lot of earthquake. So the red one is the 6 point something. So Indonesia is a blessing, so that we have to see how do we see this the blessing. So, but at the same time, Indonesia has the coral reef. One of the richest coral reef here, if you see that the coral reef. The red one is Indonesia, that's the center for the coral reef distribution. 600 out of 800 coral reef in the world are in Indonesia. Plus, if you see that the fish, we have 25% of the fish in the world. So if you can look at this one, so Indonesia is the total rank of the biodiversities. It's the tropical rainforest, one of the biggest after Brazil. In Asia is of course, but also not only that, but also really rich in biodiversities. Why is it I'm talking about this? Because this is the time, in 2010 to 2020, the UN already declared the biodiversity decade, meaning that the 10 years period, before everything's gone, before everything disappears, we really need to have and understand our biodiversity. What for biodiversity? Is for food, especially the new CBD, Convention of Biological Diversity, that we can, is not going to only is the internationally owned, but also locally. Because before that, US, Europe can go to Indonesia and take these resources. Not anymore. Since 2016, September, that the law enforce that you cannot take that resources unless there's a priority of consent. So that's really good thing about the law. But here is what that's really the green gold. What I mean is green gold is, look at this one. Antibacterial, antifungal, anti-malaria, herbicide, anti-tumor, the gentleman that's discussing about the cancer, all is from the biodiversities. From the snakes, from the frogs, from the plants, from anything. There is the source for us for food, the source for us for medicine, the source for us for housing, the source of everything for us. So if you see that, you hear this from the 2-3 gentlemen about this RNA DNA, that's the one that we have to do. But if you see that the nature, what provide the nature? The services. The nature has, we utilize about 7,000 only. 7,000 only. We eat every day. It's only 7,000. Out of 70,000 that possible becoming food. Also about 150 food plants have been ever cultivated, right? And then there's still also many percent of food plants. Similarly, the biology for drug, we just heard about drug. There's so many things has been currently, it's about $40 billion per year from the natural product. So I think we need to have this kind of research. But also what's unique is the microbes. Indonesia is really rich of the microbe. We have so many because of the volcanic soils, because of tropical climates, and also because of the between the Asia and Australia. But there is also, if you see that, there is so many, if you see that durian here, we have 60 different species of durian. But only 1 or 2 species that we eat. So we have so many in the forest, our forest. We still have 400 fruit, but only a handfuls of fruit we eat. Like apple, bananas, and those things. Out of 400 fruits, we have so many vegetables, spices, and many other things. Look at the bananas. This is Indonesia bananas. We have 1 bananas, they can have 1,000 per bunch. But we eat only 1 single varieties and add all this in the supermarket. You have to go to the regular market, traditional market, so that we can have maybe 10 or 15 out of the many of these. We have not explored this in our forest. We have so many our coloring activities. You don't have to use the chemical anymore. There's so many in our forest. This is really important. So that's why we really need to see which one is color. There's so many colorful in our forest. And then we have also technology for example, biostimulation. Once the oil already polluted our beach, just put in the bacteria there. They can eat it, the oils. So there's so many things in our. So the forest is our affection. Same thing, the coral reef is our source of the medicines. So here is for example, the nature product called the actinomyces. Actinomyces. So there's so many. You see that? There are a lot of the possible for the drug. Bacterial, antifungal, protozoals, and many others. But the most important is also, this is the bioprospecting they call. How do we dig natural resources from our natures? So here is the process, how these are our labs and then going up to, but this is really the customized things. Commercialized, we have already things like that. Food and health. From the drug, from the forest up to that, it's really need 15 years. And that really need to be now. Before everything's gone for the agriculture, for oil palm, for anything. So, fungi and microbial in Indonesia is a very diverse. And we have been doing this, and if you look at this one, if Indonesia, look at Indonesia here, there's so many, so there's so many things from Maluku's, from eastern Indonesia, anti-drug, anti-malarials. Also the production of tonally and antibiotic around discovering a lot of things from the natural products. Also the penicillin, for example, right now there is so many things. Plus whatever. This is what they call the ornamental biodiversity. It's not only drug, but also ornamental. There's so many species of plant that flowering every day. You can see the butterfly that's very beautiful. Any other things. So basically, this is that our department right now. I'm really looking for collaboration. Try to explore the Indonesian biodiversities. We have currently collaborated with Leiden University in Netherlands, trying to look at the biodiversity in Indonesia. Also with James Cook University in Australia, we're trying to look at the coral reef. But also with the Columbia University in New York, we're trying to look at what others are possible for ornamental drug and minerals. So I think that's really my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. for a very inspirational presentation. And I would like to invite the last presenter. I'm sorry to move you back the order. It's from your permission also. Professor Dr. Muhammad Sahlan from Department of Chemical Engineering, Faculty of Engineering, Universitas Indonesia. Please, the stage is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for Dr. Abdul Munir. I asked the moderator to be the last because I think it's good, because after Professor Jatna talk about the biodiversity, I think it's good after the biodiversity how to research and commercialize the biodiversity of Indonesia. So my title come from our study is about the Indonesian resource-based innovation and commercialization, because our study is about the propolis, so the case study is for the Indonesian propolis. I am belonging in the research center for biomedical engineering in the Faculty of Engineering, and also in the laboratory of industrial bioprocess engineering in the Department of Chemical Engineering, Faculty of Engineering, Universitas Indonesia. Okay. So, I think this is commonly that the research and innovation is the aim is to increase the competitiveness of the country and also to increase the social welfare. So, based on this, this is the condition in Indonesia that we have some position of the research in Indonesia that we have below to the another country in ASEAN, such as Malaysia or Thailand, Singapore, and also for the patent is also Indonesia is lowest compared to Thailand, Malaysia, and Singapore. So based on this condition, we have to study more about the research and also innovation. If we compare with the South Korea, this is from South Korea, so we have comparison is very. Indonesia is still have to be improved in the innovation and also the research. In the case, for example, for the productivity in the multi-factor, we only have about 16, and compared with the South Korea in the same years is 60. So we have to increase our innovation and our research. So if we look at this, this is the business, common business of the research in Indonesia. We know that we have the research and also innovations, and then after that we have the product of the research innovation is the patents or the copyright, and not all is can be commercialized, but we try to make commercialize all our research or innovations. So how to commercialize or how to apply our research to be good and to be the good for our society. And in this case, we know that we have this kind of the roadmap of our research from the basic research, and then after that we try to commercialize our research or to apply our innovation from the beginning step until to the developed step. For example, the advanced mass transfer, development of new product, development and operation, manufacturing, packaging, and also another thing. And then the last step is to be commercialized. So
So in this stage, our government already using the technology readiness level. We have the 7 TRL from the basic research, applied research until the commercialized in the number of the TRL and the times. So this is we already know. So I want to present our research. It is about our biodiversity. It's about the propolis. I think in the few years ago, propolis already commercialized in Indonesia, and propolis it's not seems to chance to be research and innovation about the propolis. But however, if we're thinking about the biodiversity that Professor Jatna said, that we have to be know that the commercialized propolis in Indonesia is imported from the Brazil, from the Australia, from the Taiwan. So there is no propolis from Indonesia. So why we not to be research about the propolis from our country? Because we have the biodiversity. We have the 15% of the insect in the world in Indonesia. The propolis is the insect product. So why we not start to study about our biodiversity? So, and then in no variation of the product of propolis, it's only mainly is serum drop, yeah. And also the sales method is only the multi-level marketing. So why we interested to study about this product or this biodiversity? So we start from this kind of the focus. We have the Indonesian propolis. What kind of the sources? What kind of the bioresources? And then what kind of the process we have to advance our products from the Indonesian propolis, and what kind of the products and the market. So this is several questions from the source to the market that we have to thinking to commercialize the biodiversity. And then we found that our biodiversity is very huge. For example, in the case of the bees, we have 3 kinds of the bees, which European country, American country, Australian, and the New Zealand only using 1 kind of the bees. We have the 3 kinds of the bees. The first is the wild bees. It is in the rainforest bees, commonly exists in Indonesia, Malaysia, and also Pakistan, India. And we have at least 2 kind of this kind of the bees, from the west and also the east. And then the second one is the common honeybees. This is already farming the bees, or we already domesticated this kind of the bees. And in Indonesia we have at least 2 kind of the bees, Apis cerana and the Apis mellifera. And the last one, but not least, this is the stingless bee. This is also very interesting because we have at least 40 species of this kind of the bees. So, and when we study about this kind of the bees, then from the sting bee and the stingless bee, sting bee can produce more honey compared with the propolis, and the stingless bee can produce propolis compared with the honey. So it is very interesting to study the stingless bee, our biodiversity. And then for the next, when we already have found the source of the bees, we study about the separation technology. What kind of the new separation technology in the world? And we found that the new the separation technology is about the wax separation. So we found the wax separation between the propolis extract and the wax of the propolis. And then we also found that many activities, bioactivities of the propolis, from the antibacterial, antifungal, immunomodulatory, antiviral, for example, for the HIV, influenza, herpes, and so on, and also anti-inflammation, and also propolis as antioxidant. So how to make to be valuable our propolis? So we have to collaborate with the other researcher. So we decided to collaborate with the entomology and the beekeepers, medicine, food scientists, dentists, and the economics. And we already established the collaboration with the Faculty of Medicine, Faculty of Dentistry, Faculty of Pharmacy, and also Faculty of the Economic and Business for the commercializing our product, and Department of Biology, School of Food Science, and Indonesian Beekeeper Association. And then this is our roadmap of the milestone Indonesian propolis issues. We already commercialize, and then we produce several products for the dentists and also for the medicines. And then this is the propolis version from the beekeeper to the industry, and we already established several Indonesian propolis products. This is the propolis drop. This is the body natural body wash, and then this is the ovula for the local hair disease, and this is for the mold and healthcare, and this is also for the dentistry. And then we also already established some startup companies. We already established 4 startup companies. Veterin Biotech Indonesia, specialist on the propolis and Indonesian propolis-based product, and specialist on honey production and trading for the CP Nanobiotech Indonesia, and Pro Candy for specialist on candy production, and also Inovasi Flolis Indonesia, specialist is dentist healthcare based on Indonesian propolis. And then for the summary, Indonesia have many resources, bioresources that could be utilized. Need big effort to apply and commercialize in the innovation, and collaboration is needed to improve our product, process, and also commercialization the innovation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pak Salan. I think one more great applause to our all 6 presenters. Thank you very much, Professor Myung-Hun Sonu, talk about ICT for disease diagnosis, and Dr. Rukundo for capsule endoscopy, Dr. Fanani for remote sensing in agriculture, Professor Ogura for biomarkers, thanks. And the last 2, Professor Yatna talking about biodiversity, and closed by Dr. Salan for commercializations. I would like to invite all the presenters to stand in front and make a picture to close the session.
Don't forget the freestyle, okay? The freestyle photo.
1, 2.